Hi, it's Sean. It's 5 a.m. and you're listening to The 3-Month Vacation. Would you use Doug to get you to write your articles? Let me introduce you to my friend Doug. I often bounce ideas off him, and he's not shy in pushing his own thoughts across to me. I will also use Doug to find flaws in my thinking, or just blind spots that I haven't noticed. But would I use Doug's words in my article? Would I cut and paste his ideas directly into my work? Not at all. If I did, it wouldn't be my work, would it? It would be Doug's. I would simply be cutting and pasting his words and his thoughts, and that makes no sense. Even if I were working with a professional editor, I would fight for my voice, never simply surrendering to cut and paste. Yet, AI is all about cut and paste. It makes you believe that you've done some of the work, but it definitely and repeatedly wants to take over. I was not ready at any stage to let AI take over. I wanted to do all the work, leaving it solely to do the final tidying up. I decided, let it have one role. It was going to be my editor, nothing more or less. So I went through the steps. I got the article together. I created the outline for the article. I found the stories I could use. I finally expanded the article, dictating my ideas with lots of detail. All of these steps already took me well over an hour. It doesn't sound like much, but I've been writing for well over 25 years, so I can get things done quickly. And after I'd done all of this preparatory work, AI asked me if I would like to get all of the material tidied up. Want me to draft that full restructure so you can see it end to end? It asked helpfully. I didn't hesitate for a second. I hit OK. I wanted to see what it would do. And these actions didn't seem unethical to me either. I'd done what I considered to be 97% of the work. It wasn't like I was providing AI with 3 ideas, 3 words, and saying, hey, go ahead, create an article for me. No, I had put in all the hard yards. I was convinced that this was just an editor working on my content and nothing more. When I got the result, I briefly skimmed over the text in the article, and then I posted it online. It seemed to have my voice, my ideas, and everything was okay until I tried to record it for this podcast. As I went through the first paragraph, I stopped because the words were sounding quite different from the way that I would write it. But I had a deadline looming in front of me, so I decided to continue the recording. A few lines later, I detected another switch in the language. By the end of the first paragraph, I completely abandoned the script. Instead, I rewrote the entire podcast script, and that's what you heard last week. Since I already posted the article online, a client read it eagerly. He didn't notice any traces of AI. He complimented me on my work. A second client read it too and didn't notice a thing. But as he worked his way through the article, he asked what I meant by a particular phrase. And that phrase was genuine invention. I was embarrassed. At first, I brushed it off. I said, hey, I wrote that in a hurry. Ha ha. My exact words were that. They were, ha ha, not sure what I meant by genuine invention either. You can safely ignore it. So it sounded a bit like I was having a weird moment. The client accepted the glitch and moved on. But I was frustrated by the fact that I hadn't caught all the changes. How many things had been subtly moved that I hadn't noticed? Where was my voice slowly being outsourced without my knowledge? And at what point would AI take over without me realizing it? Here's the part that is really important. AI knows my voice. It knows how I write. It has a huge database of articles that it can pull from 25 years of psychotactics. Several of our clients have probably uploaded some PDFs that we've given them. So AI has a voluminous amount of detail on the way I write. And it is still using language that is traceable. When I read my work, I know what I would have written, and I definitely can tell when AI has stepped in. The same will apply to your writing. AI will leave fingerprints all through your articles, stories, etc. First, nobody will know what you are doing. Nobody will know that you're using AI. But given time, you will have a track record. People will spot the AI in tiny bits, a weird phrase here, an odd construction there. The moment you lose trust with a client, it's almost impossible to regain that trust. From that point on, almost everything you do, it will appear tainted. Even if you've done 97% of the work and 3% looks like AI, the client will assume that you had little or no part to play in the creation of that content. Which is not to suggest that you shouldn't use AI at all. I still use AI to dictate my ideas. I compile all of these ideas so I can have them together in an organized manner. I will also use AI to bring up objections or blind spots. So I use AI like I have discussions with Doug. Doug is very useful, but I would never use Doug's ideas as cut and paste. If I did, I would be Doug, and if we use AI, we will sound like AI. It's over to you. Use AI as cut and paste at your peril. And that brings us to the end of this podcast. This is not about a rant against AI. I use AI all day, and in a future podcast, I will tell you how I use AI for language, for to-do lists, for a whole bunch of things. But there are certain areas where it's kind of weird, and writing is one of them. So I would recommend that even if you think nobody can spot it, I can spot it. And if I can spot it, then lots of people can spot it. And yeah, it's not a good idea. What's happening in psychotactics land? We are headed to Hong Kong and Taiwan pretty soon. This is September. So if you're in Hong Kong or Taiwan in September, we have meetups and a photography workshop. Check it out on the psychotactics site. Just go and do the search thing. You know how to do it. The other thing is you want to read Suddenly Talented. Now, let's assume you've already bought the book and you've read through it partially and not got to the end. Read it. You get a postcard, but you have to read through the book before you realize where you get the postcard. The book itself will change the way you look at talent. If you thought that talent was all about hard work and practice, blah, 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 then you're probably not acquiring new skills all the time. So get yourself a copy of Suddenly Talented. It's on the website. It's also on Amazon. You can download the audio, the text, the book. It's all there. But go to our website because, yeah, it's better from there. You get the whole bundle. I'll say bye for now. Bye-bye.